What was your relationship like with John Cena?
Well, it's pretty well known that it wasn't a good relationship. I had some not so good moments with him. If you want me to talk about him, I can. If you just want to know the general, we didn't get along, we can just say that too. It's totally up to you.
Because I wonder, if you didn't get along, because your paths didn't cross in my mind too often in the sense of on shows. So where did that kind of come from or originate from you both?
Where did our bad relationship come from?
Yeah.
It started when I got drafted to Raw, and it was all about me using a finisher that looked similar to his. And the interesting part was when I was being brought up as this, when Tyler Reks was first introduced as a heel, I came out for the bragging rights deal, and I took Cabal's spot. He had just done a match against Big Show. I came out, and I was like, I want your spot. He got cocky, said, yeah, let's do it. So we had the match. I took his spot. Nobody ever really seen this character before. But before that happened, we were practicing in front of all the agents like usual before the show, and Arn Anderson was my agent. And he said, hey, Rex, what's your finisher? He said, oh, I'm using the Burning Hammer. And so basically it's like an inverted FU, flip them over, but I sit out with a DDT. It's nowhere near the same. Personally, I think it's way cooler. But Goldust was like, hey, I'll take it for you. And we did it in front of everybody. And Cena was sitting right there. Everybody goes, oh, God, dude, you okay, Dust? I was like, yeah, man, it's easy, no problem. And then I don't remember who it was that had the earpiece on, but I don't remember who said it. They're like, okay, Vince likes it. He says use it. Okay, cool. So Vince approved it. Nobody said anything. Like Cena was sitting there, Arn was there. We probably had 20 guys ringside when I did it, and Vince approved it. So I used it for 6 months or something when I was on SmackDown. I used it in the bragging rights match, literally sitting across the ring from. I think I did it 2 feet from Cena when I eliminated Santino. Nobody said anything then. I was in multiple. Man, we were in a lot of pay-per-views where it happened, and I used it in a lot of matches where he was there watching, and never once said anything. So I get drafted to Raw, and I think it was the first loop. Actually, we did the first house show loop. I had a match with Eddie Colon, who was Primo, and I was going over, so we were going to use my finisher. We went out there, we did it. Something happened in the mix where Eddie wasn't looking straight up in like moonsault form, and he was kind of on his side, and when I flipped him over, it kind of ended up looking like an FU. I was like, oh, crap. So we walk backstage. Cena looks at me in front of the boys like, might have to find you another finisher, dude. And I looked him dead in the eyes like, hey, man, sorry. I know we kind of screwed it up tonight. It didn't come out the way it should have. We'll get it right tomorrow. Like, okay, cool. Like that was the extent of everything we talked about. So Primo and I went out and did the same match. And I remember Eddie going, should we change the finisher, Gabe? And I said, I don't think so, man. I think it's just because we hit it wrong. Let's make sure we hit it right tonight so it doesn't look anything like his, and it should be okay. So we did it. No agent said at any point, hey, Gabe, Cena wants you to change his finisher. Cena never came up and said, hey, don't use that finisher tonight. Yeah. We did it. I came backstage, and he just starts yelling at me in front of all the guys. Like, he just is like, what did I have to tell you last night? No, you can't hear, you deaf? I was like, whoa, man, what's wrong? And he goes, I told you to find another finisher. Just starts yelling at me and degrading me like I was a 6-year-old kid. And I was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I honestly think this is just a miscommunication. He just kept going in front of everybody. And at one point, I just walked out. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I thought I was going to quit.
Yeah.
And, I got rid of that call. Sorry, guys. I thought I was going to quit, like right then and there. And I walked in, like, nah, let's go talk to him. Like, maybe it's just a misunderstanding. And he was heated. And so I walked back, and he was kind of peeking through the curtain watching the match. And I literally got down on like one knee alongside him, like, hey, John, man, I really think this was a miscommunication. And he just looks over at me and just digs into me again. Like, are you effing stupid? Boom, 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 boom. Just, all right, I'll just find something else, man. No big deal. And that, things circulate really quick with wrestlers. And so by the time we got to Raw, like, everybody from the top down, like, oh, Rex was using this finisher, and Cena told him to change it. And I remember at one point, Michael Hayes just looked at me and like, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you change your finisher? I'm like, what happened, man? So, it happened, and I was just like, okay. So I found another finisher, and I just didn't really talk to him after that. when Hawkins and I teamed back up, or when we teamed up and we were having trouble kind of staying on TV, Hawkins had this killer idea, and him and John got along really well.
Right.
And so his idea was to get fired as a storyline. And then what would happen is we would get fired and we would start sneaking back in the arena. So we'd be, one week we would have a sign in the audience, and like the camera would zoom in on us and they look, oh, what are Reks and Hawkins doing? And then we get ejected. And the next week we sneak in again and we're a little closer, and it basically works down to us getting down to the ring, dressed up as janitors, doing a run-in on, I think it was Kofi at the time, or whoever it was. And so he goes, we need to talk to somebody about this. So he goes, I want to talk to John. I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, let's just talk to him. So we went and talked to him, and John had a good conversation with us. He was like, this is a killer idea, man. This is great. Can you put all this on a DVD? Go to Brawler right now in the promo room, and can you put this on a DVD? Yeah, let's do it. So we put it all on a DVD. We cut some promos, kind of outlining what we wanted to do. Got it all done in a night. And he goes, get me that CD. He takes the CD. He goes, I'm on the jet with Vince tonight, and we're going to talk about it. I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. So next week, like, hey, John, how'd it go? He's like, well, pretty good. Let's see what happens. Okay, cool. So, like, guess who got fired the next week on Raw? It was Miz and Truth. and we kind of look at each other like, this is a lot like what we just pitched. And we went to John, like, hey, John, this looks a lot like what we just gave you on a DVD. Did we just get screwed? He's like, no. Don't even worry about it. This is something totally different. Okay, because it looks like that's the storyline we just pitched that nobody's done ever, and it's being done, so it's not going to be as cool when we do it. Like, no. Then the next week, the storyline progressed, and it was basically our pitch, but with Is and Truth, with John as the main, with the guy who got jumped at the end. And we had a term that we used called being Burchelled, because Paul Burchell would pitch stuff all the time, and creative would just take it and wouldn't give it to him, to give it to somebody else. And we just asked Cena, we're like, at one point, we're 3 weeks into this thing that is obviously our pitch, and Hawkins said, yo, Cena, did we just get Burchelled? He's like, yeah, you did. Blatantly telling us that he stole our stuff and used it and just left us at the bottom. We're like, cool, man, I'm definitely never talking to you again. But, I think the thing is, people always thought I was angry, and at that time I was bitter.
Yeah.
Like, those are my opportunities. I didn't deserve that. But my outlook is different now. There's been a lot of growth since I left, and I've really changed a lot of the things that I focus on. And so I'm a big believer in that. Our future and our destiny is what we make it, and that every choice we make has an outcome. And I chose to be bitter, and I chose to be upset and just kind of sulk about it and not do anything. And now, I look at it, I'm like, I'm not angry. I grew and I learned from that, and I learned, what not to do and what to do. And if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd be different about it. And so again, like, no hard feelings towards him. I don't want people to think that I'm still, 10 years later, like, oh, this a-hole, because that's not how I feel. I'm like, you know what, he's the top guy for a reason. And if that's how things were handled, that, more power to him, man.